welcome to Newsline Live. Our guest today needs no introduction, but he needs welcoming here because it's been a rather long time. He's here though. Mr. Harin Fernando, Member of Parliament from the SJB. Very good evening to you, Mr. Fernando.
Very good evening.
Lovely to see you here. Now then, let's have a look at party matters. The various appointments today and so on. You happy, satisfied? Room for improvement?
You're talking about the United National Party?
Yes.
Yes. I didn't have time to really look into it, but I just saw the messages, but I don't see any change in it. And as predicted, it's the same old.
It's the same old.
It's the same old party and the same old people and the same old faces. So, if I may to answer very directly, I would say that I'm not really happy because I would have wanted to see Ruwan Wijewardene than leading it with some young bunch of up-and-coming UNP leftovers, I would say. But unfortunately, it has not happened. It's the same old cadre. I have no words to say, actually.
How do you feel? Because you sacrificed a lot for the party, and if we cast our minds back all those years ago, you returned to the provincials, and actually we can argue that it is you who started the crumbling of the votes for the other side. And so when you look back, do you think that it was all an absolute waste of time?
I wouldn't think so. I think it was if it was a personal approach, I think I would have been happy of what I was able to do.
Yeah.
And as a team to get back together, but whether the timing was right, I'm not very sure. But however, I think it gave us an opportunity to find some young, good politicians for our party. We got some energy into the party. Unfortunately, I think after 2019 presidential election, we had to take a call because we did not want the same old faces. We wanted some change. We wanted to move to the right direction. We wanted to move hands of leadership. But since it did not happen, I think we did the right thing. We started from the scratch. We started a new movement. I would not say it's a party, but it's a bigger, more than a party. It's a movement. So I'm quite happy and satisfied with the 53 members that returned to Parliament within 2 months of establishing a party. I think we have done pretty well, and I think the last budget really proved some very young, vociferous MPs really taking over two-thirds government, and I think quite happy to start off there from the scratch and correct our mistakes.
Going back to this point, your sacrifice, your vision, and so on, and then you all must have all been on a collective high when the war-winning president, against all odds, was actually defeated, and he went home, and y'all had such an amazing gilded prospect for our country, for yourselves, and so on, and it all went up in a puff of smoke.
So I think I was just at a small meeting with a few of the younger MPs.
Yeah.
What we realized, even in 2015, when we gave hope, what I did was only give hope for UNP from 28% to bring up to 44%.
Yeah.
And then we brought about a common candidate, Honorable Maithripala Sirisena, and he was able to canvass the floating voter as well as the more educated or the middle class vote. And it was a collective effort. It was not just mine, but I opened the eyes or gave some energy to the UNPers to come out, and in numbers, the 35 or the 36% that was with us, which had dropped down to about 28. However, it was unfortunate, we were saying that we didn't infuse new blood, young blood who got into Parliament, into the cabinet. We got the same old face. Only I got into cabinet because of my sacrifice, probably. But there were people, the likes of Sujiva Singh, I would say Harsha De Silva, Iran Vikramaratne, Ajit P. Pereira. They would have been easily been given a post.
But don't you blame this all on this inability of the leader of the United National Party
As I said from the outset, that's where it stood, and that's where it stands even today. So I am happy in a way that we have made this decision. I mean, I have
Aren't you angry that that sort of stubbornness and inability to play at the democratic game has resulted not only in discomfort for his party, defeat for his party, and the aspirations of yourselves and so on, but also has acted detrimentally overall towards democracy, and the people were let down?
Absolutely, I think that was the reason that reflects very well with the results of the general election, which was held in August. And it is unfortunate if somebody does not want to accept it and wants to go down the same line. I have the greatest respect for Harin Fernando for bringing me into politics, but this is politics is something that you groom young people, and you keep promoting those young people to take over. He had a great vision, I would say, but I mean, you become outdated after a while, and people do not accept you. That's a time that you do not want to humiliate yourself. As I say, I would rather really like to have a conversation with him, get his experience. But there comes a time where you need to keep moving on, and I mean, getting others and just being an advisor.
My colleague Bandula Jayasekara on the program some days ago, one day at a time. As you know, Bandula is being diagnosed terminally ill, and he was brave enough to come here. But the take home from that program was when he told us that it was essential to let go.
Absolutely. In anything in life, we all need to let go at one point. Power, even your family, the money. So I think, I mean, Ranil Wickremesinghe also should have led by example to say that, time has come. But I mean, I don't know what keeps him holding on to this. So I'm a bit baffled by it. But so as a party, as some young people, we had to make a move. I recall myself as a UNP still. I even want to say that I am UNP still.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate because now I represent the Samagi Jana Balawegaya. But I hope UNP will get their act together and just be very honest about it and go about it very soon and get us all back and come on to one single party.
I see. Now then, we thank you very much for your questions by SMS 0772 300 305. And here's a question which we all want to know. Can the SJB continue in politics in the long term without joining with the United National Party?
Well, if UNP is going to act stubborn and do not want to come into a dialogue, and it's all about the concept as well, what we want to promote, how we see the political ideology. We don't have much of a difference, but it's a party line that we will choose to take. And if UNP can work together, and we have great hope with Ruwan Wijewardene, I hope at least that he will have the power to command within the party with nobody pulling the rug under his feet. So we're just expecting Ruwan to come out and at least start a dialogue and try and understand where we stand and what the general public wants to understand as one group. If they are honest about it, if they're genuine about their cause, I'm sure we might be able to work together. So I think
what about
that has been initiated also.
And what about the level of corruption during the unfortunate Yapa Lanista government?
See,
the level of corruption.
See, I would say the current Samagi Jana Balawegaya do not have that backlog, or we do not bring anything, that baggage with us when we came and formed Samagi Jana Balawegaya. UNP is still struggling to come out because they still have those corrupted people around. Therefore, I would say that it's something that they need to work on. We have started to move on. We didn't stop waiting. We built a different forum. We got a different party support. Now we're building a grassroots network. We did not have a single telephone number, an address, or a branch when we contested the election, and we got 53. That's the highest that any party within the shortest period of time have ever got.
Do you think Ranil Wickremesinghe worked by proxy for the benefit of the Rajapaksa family?
I don't really like to comment on this because it was my former leader. As a mark of respect for him, I would say I let the general public of Sri Lanka understand it because
The
I found it.
the general public of Sri Lanka are sometimes left muddle-headed, and one such thing is this. We have Ranjana Manayaka, who's been found to be held to be in contempt of court, and a 4-year sentence passed on him.
It's very unfortunate.
Now, I have several questions around that. One of them, of course, is, does this mean that Ranjana Manayaka's seat will become vacant?
Well, we've been talking to some legal experts on this matter, and it's too early to comment at the moment, I would say. But however, there's a very young, dynamic lawyer, Harin Fernando, who works with our party quite well and very young, and hails from St. Joseph's College as well, which is a better school out of all.
Well, that's the Chaturanga might agree, but not many others.
So this eminent lawyer have spoken, and I saw his tweet, which says the Constitution of Sri Lanka or does not say about contempt of court.
Yeah.
And how it applies. So I think we will look into it, and he have clearly said that there is no clear indication of how a contempt of court would take away the civic rights of a person. So therefore, I think it's up for debate, and I think the legal experts with our honourable leader Sajith Premadasa is discussing of the avenues, and I'm sure all we can do is we can ask for a bigger bench at the moment, because it was 3 bench that delivered the verdict. We can request for a 5 or a 7 or a 9 bench. I don't know how the legal experts will go because it just happened yesterday, but I know they had a discussion today. I'm sure they will have a discussion over the next couple of days. And Honorable Leader Sajith Premadasa is very much hands-on on this and is looking at all possibilities. So it's unfortunate, and I think it's a great loss, and a man who is not corrupted, who has been always speaking his mind. He was fearless in everything that he did. It's unfortunate. We will miss him dearly in our party.
Are you talking about Ranil Wickremesinghe?
No, Ranjan Ramanayake.
Right. Okay. Now then, look, the questions won't go away, because out there is this big support base for the people who are the United National Party, whether it's be called the SJB or whatever name. It's, at the end of the day, it's all UNP. Now, Ruwan Wijewardena has made it quite clear that he's all for joining.
So
Now,
it's a
what
great
about
start.
you? What about your willingness?
So it's a great start. I think we would not have a problem in engaging with Ruwan. We think he's a modern day
What's the
politician. It's about, again, who will call the shots, who holds a fort. So if Ruwan clearly has what it takes to stand his ground and take his deputy leadership to leadership, which was promised to be a transition, was supposed to be in January for Ruwan to be the leader. But today we see leader is the same leader and Ruwan is just the deputy leader, which is what happened to Sajith Premadasa all along, where we had to make this bitter call for us. But we simply hope UNP will get their act together, and Ruwan will have to fight for this and do the right. So he's one of my dear friends. I hope that he has all the guts to do that.
Now then, the general public continue to be concerned for your safety. And here's a question. Please ask Harin whether he will face problems after his recent address in Parliament. So I was going to ask you, but now somebody's done it for me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So with regards to what happened in Parliament, it was under my Parliament privilege, as what I spoke. And Parliament is a place where you can speak your mind off with certain details you have on hand, and you can build a constructive criticism on what I see.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what I did. And it is unfortunate. I think President Nandasena Gotabaya Rajapaksa was under severe pressure, and unfortunately he picked my name up. So when you pick my name up and then claim that he was able to kill a terrorist and bring him like a dog, it fears. I mean, with the past, what we have heard with journalists, etc. But what I requested from the IGP, I sent him a letter. I said, I want safety, I want you to protect me. It's not about having STF. I just came alone. I did not, you can just go out, see the camera. I came just with a driver. Today I went to Parliament, I drove. I don't have security.
Yeah.
And I don't, what I meant by my security is not security in personnel, in cops or STF. What I said is give me the safety to speak my mind. And I should not be punished for what I speak. It's freedom of
Do
expression.
you think that President Nandasena Gotabaya Rajapaksa, I like to call him NGR because people call it GR, but anyway, our president, do you think he made those comments in a momentary peakness of anger?
I assume so. I would be very fair to him. I think he's going through quite a lot of pressure situations with the COVID, with his own party not standing up at certain times. I mean, one of the concerns he probably would have had is why I was not bothered in Parliament when I was speaking. But I think I spoke the truth. I spoke my heart out. I felt it was some different energy I had on that day.
Yeah.
And also, my only fear is that not about Nandasena Gotabaya Rajapaksa doing anything to me. It's just the fact that he gave a bad precedent. The bad precedents that he gave by making such a remark would sometimes make his own followers attack the opposition. And that's detrimental for democracy. And that's detrimental for the parliamentary privileges that we have of criticizing a government. And that's not what we want in a modern democracy. We see Trump's tweet message created chaos for the world's leading country, and it shamed them. And I see by that particular remark that
We had a similar situation here in October.
exactly. So I feel
Do you think the Americans copied us?
probably we have a half American here as well, and few half Americans who are actually governing the country. I mean, no offense, these are criticism that one needs to take when you come to the president's office and sit on that chair. And if you can't take criticism, it doesn't make you a great leader. I would have to commend Mahinda Rajapaksa in 2014 on our stages when he was the president. We were very critical about him, very critical. I mean, he took it with a pinch of salt. He came out, he spoke, he attacked us.
Well, I don't know
on the-
about a pinch of salt because
No, at least,
yeah.
at least it was not very direct and no threat as such saying, okay, do you want to go like a dog? That didn't happen. So I would always have to say that's politics. But this is a straightforward threat on any politician. And I don't think it's about me. It's about
Lasantha Wickrematunge's family won't agree with you.
absolutely. And I would say, see, as I say, this was a direct threat, and that doesn't do good for a country. I mean, once again, what I would want to see is a president taking criticism in the right
My
spirit.
colleagues at the Parliament, main control centre, won't agree with you either.
In which one? With which comment?
The one about Mahinda Rajapaksa.
No,
and so on.
what I said was in the election stage or in Parliament. See, Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa, or as you call the NGR, he can come into Parliament.
Yeah.
If he wanted to counter my speech, it would have been rather better to use the democratic process where he has a right to come into Parliament and would have spoken. But
With his heavy diary, do you think he'd do that?
well, if he doesn't care for the Parliament, that's even a much worse situation.
But
I mean,
surely after the 20th Amendment, the Parliament is nothing but a rubber stamp.
well, it certainly looks like that for us now too. So it spells out danger, and the Parliament is actually a defunct entity, and that's not good for the democracy because a country is governed by three pillars. It's a judiciary, it's a legislature, and the executive. If the executive don't care for the two other institutions, that's danger for a country.
And are you, somebody's suggesting that you're frightened. So
I won't drive alone.
I'm asking the question. Are you genuinely fearful? Do you have a genuine concern for your personal safety after what you were told?
Well, I have one fear, to be honest. I am speaking out about a fact in Parliament, about Easter bombing. I was somebody who had got really harassed. I was bullied about this whole fact because I said a particular statement, because I wanted the general public of Sri Lanka to know, me being in the cabinet at that particular point, that the Sri Lankan law enforcement authorities knew it. But the media in Sri Lanka, I'm not saying Sirasa, but there are two media organizations who particularly went behind me and build this argument to say that I knew it. And I went through one of the worst periods in my life. My father died afterwards. My kids couldn't go to school because of this harassment. So there's a lot of things that was done by this media. But today, it is now showing, and I always strongly believe there's a God up above, is proving that there was a hand into this, and I was exposing this. I cannot say it on national TV, but I have been speaking about it in Parliament.
Yeah.
So I think these facts are coming alive, and very soon these facts will be. So I fear on that fact, whoever is worried that things will come out, they will endanger me. And my only fear is I have two kids.
Can I be upfront, open and direct with you, because that's what we do here at Newsline. Whether you answer the question or not, Mrs.
As long as I don't get into a legal
Mrs.
battle.
J will send me my check. All right? So, this is the question. It's really serious. Do you even have the slightest doubt that this was anything other than a bona fide, however bona fide it can be, terrorist attack? I'm talking about Easter Sunday attack.
Well, clearly, ISIS took responsibility soon after the bombings.
Yeah.
But what interest ISIS really had in Sri Lanka is something that we need to open our minds and look at.
Terrorists have warped minds anyway.
Now, because there is a bigger fact into it. I mean, there are so many details on the Easter bombing commission that you can see on the papers. They say there was few people who was in touch with ISIS who is in Sri Lanka. What was the purpose? 6 months before an election, would government want a bomb being? I mean, I'm very upfront. I say former president and former prime minister, and I said this in the Easter Commission, they are responsible for the negligence. But who would benefit us 6 months after for election? So this was the point that I was been raising. And this is why now I've been threatened because of talking about this fact. I would say I mean, one day when it comes out, it's a murder. And I'm somebody who got harassed about it for trying to speak the truth. Today I'm in danger, but still I would not want to back down. I would want to speak the truth, because even at certain points, I was not supported by the belief that I had, or the leaders of my belief did not support me of what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
So therefore, I have now resorted in one person, and I think I would have been the first person to come out in Parliament,
Yeah.
show my belief, and
Yeah.
show the cross that I'm wearing, and say there's a God up above, he will prove this. So, I mean, I rest my case out of there, and I mean, probably I could be wrong, but this is something that I believe, and I'm trying to build this argument, and that's my job to do, and I'm constructively criticizing it, and I am now giving the facts of why I think how it should have happened.
Do you
so
have no-
I have
do
to
you
be
have
also
no-
careful
Yes.
when I say these things, because they're waiting one word for me to slip.
Yeah.
And just like for Ranjan, I would be in for defamation. I mean, just like Sirasa has a defamation case today, right? And it's very easy for defamation, or they can put you for contempt of court. So I have to guard my mouth. I have to be very careful. I'm walking on thin
it's
ice.
as easy for us to defend our beliefs, and we know where we stand, and we are not unduly concerned. But I don't want to go on about it, because obviously, you know, it's before the courts. But I do want to ask you this: how do you view, with the coldness of real neutrality, how do you view this government's efforts in terms of fighting this pandemic?
Well, if I'm going to be brutally honest, I think this whole pandemic got out of control because the government did not have a proper plan in place from the outset.
Nobody in the world had a plan.
No, but what I'm trying to say is Sri Lanka, we're a small country. We could lock our borders very easily. They're an island nation.
Yeah.
we can easily lock the country in properly.
Indeed.
I think the first COVID outbreak we managed well, but unfortunately I had to make my remarks to say that the parliamentary elections and they opened the country or kept the borders open till the nominations were given till March 19. I remember on the March 7th, there was a video that was saying, come to Sri Lanka is corona free, because after the Chinese lady got cured. And this video was done by a very famous TV company and their advertising company. That's what the people are saying at the moment. And the first patient of COVID-19 in Sri Lanka was a tour guide. That's how it started.
Yes.
But then we locked down around the 20th or 22nd and we dragged for about 3 months, which was good. Army and the health authority did a fantastic job. They were in control. But again, unfortunately, because they wanted to hold the elections, it was opened back and we went in for an election in August. What happened afterwards was the 20th Amendment. And when the Brandix patient was found, country was not locked down. Now they call it the Brandix cluster, then the Paleogoda cluster. Now they say the Parliament cluster. We never know. But again, it's for the 20th Amendment, they kept the country open. They wanted the Parliament to go on. And it spreaded like wildfire. So if you ask me, are we doing enough PCR tests? We see these SMSs saying 300 today, 400 today. But do we ever see out of how many PCRs done? Do we see that number? Whether is it from 5,000 or whether it's from 10,000?
So
right? So if you do,
you'd like to see them do more.
If you do double the PCR test, and we have a dashboard in Sri Lanka to see how many PCRs were done in which district, we will know how badly this has spread. So I don't think we do have those access or the information for it.
Well, Harin Fernando, thank you very much for being on Newsline. But before that, as you are fully aware, tomorrow is a very special day for Tamil brothers and sisters, the Tamil citizenry in this country. I was struggling to find a way of putting it, and lo and behold, here came a clip from the British Prime Minister, Boris Johnson. And my producer, Shaun Ranatunga, will play that clip now and take us towards the end, after which we will be joining the primetime news from Newsfirst at 9 o'clock. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching Newsline Live, and we wish you all a very happy and bountiful Thai Pongal. And I'll leave it to Boris Johnson to take us to the end of our program.
To our fantastic British Tamil community and to Tamils around the world, I wish you a very happy Thai Pongal. And as you gather together with your family and friends, I believe there is so much to celebrate and to look forward to, not least the delicious rice pudding, Pongal, which I hope all of you will be enjoying very shortly.